on project financing and break-even analysis. Last week, actually, we have done maybe 2 questions. Any difficulty you come across? You came across last week questions? Any gray areas, Abhishek? Samindri, I think you also were with us last time. Any issues? Have you tried it again, or any difficulty? We have discussed 2 questions, right? I think 2016 September question number 5. I think we have done it, and we have done it. Another question. Not sure which one. I think this one, right? Yeah, 2019 March, I think we have done, and then we have done this question also. Okay, Samindri. Right. Go ahead with the YouTube one, Samindri. But today also we are continuing the same topic and same question, so that you can have a kind of some knowledge on that. So until others get on, can we then start a question, maybe this one, 2015 September question 5, right? So, right, Jan also joined with us, right? So then we start this question, take some time and say maybe 10-15 minutes and first understand, and then we proceed with the answer, right? So the question says, Nirmal Fernando intends investing 500 million today, an additional amount of 100 million in year 4 to complete the project. This is the kind of the income projected year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. So what we have been asked is define, calculate the payback, define, calculate NPV, because we have been given the discounting factor, in IRR, and compare, contrast payback versus the NPV in investment appraisal. Again, this is not a difficult question, right? So let's take maybe 5-10 minutes among you, and then we will discuss the answer, right? So we have a couple of Jayani, Jude, Sanjeev also joined. So let's start maybe take 5-10 minutes, and then we will discuss the question. And Samindri, actually you also can go through this, and if you have any difficulty, so let's discuss together, because you are not there last time, right? So what we have to do is, let's say we take maybe the definition, and then we continue with the question. So when we can get 5 marks for each the sub question, where maybe definition you can get 1 or 2 marks, or then the answer with the kind of methodology you can get another 3 marks. So that's how the 5 questions could consist. So let's start, right? And then we'll see what are the difficult areas, right? Please start. If you come across any question, yes, please let me know while you are attempting the question. Sanjeev, have you started? Abhishek, what about you? Right, okay. Right, so let's come up with the answer for first one. So they ask about payback. So you know the definitions. Payback is basically time taken to recover the investment, right? Capital invested towards the project. That's like, you know, definition that we can give. But then what could be the like payback period? First think what is the total investment, and then we can see at when we can recover the full investment, which year. So that is basically our payback period. So let's take step by step and see what is the like answer. If you come across any difficulty, please let me know, because you know, last time we did 2 questions, so probably you have an idea, right? If you are not comfortable in, you know, coming up the answers, please let me know, and once everybody, you know, comes to kind of a level, so then we will discuss it further. Any answers you got? What is the payback? Jani, Jude? What is the answers that you are getting? $2.4 years. Yeah, Jani. Jani, what is the like total investment of the project? What is the total investment of the project? Or capital investment in the project? $600 million, right? That is correct. So what is the payback? Jude, you are also correct. 600 million is the total investment, right? Samindra, please follow us, right? Basically, what is the like payback period we define is the time taken to recover the investment, capital investment in a project. So now we have identified total investment is 600 million, right? So then we need to find the time taken to recover that 600 million. So which year they can recover that 600 million is our answer. Now, Jayani, first year how much they have recovered? End of first year how much they have recovered? Abhishek, how much we have recovered during the first year? No, first year we have recovered 100 million, and we are yet to recover 500 million, right? That's how it has to go. Sanjeev, we are say year 3, but with the additional investment is year 5. Yeah, answer should be with the additional investment, because total investment is 600 million, right? Year 1 they have recovered only 100 million and 500 million to go. Year 2 they have recovered 150 million, right? Then altogether by year 2, they have recovered 250 million, 100 billion year 1, year 2, 150, so 250, but they yet to go 350 million because total investment is 600. By year 3, they have recovered 500 million, 100 billion, 150, 250. But still they have 100 million to go. But year 4, they only recover 50, but there's another 50 to recover. So they recover that only in year 5. So the answer could be year 5. Right? Sanjeev, yes, you are correct, because with the additional investment, we need 5 years. What about others? Total investment is 600. So we need almost 4 and some more years to recover the total investment. So that is 5 years. Is everybody getting it? Any questions? Sanjeev, Samindri, Matthias, are you with me, or any question? Jude? Right? What about Samindri and Jude and Jayani? Right, thank you. Thank you. Jayani, are you okay with that? Okay, right. I am awaiting Jayani's response. No, you didn't get, right? So basically, how it happen is now in payback period, we have defined the payback period is the time taken to recover the capital invested in a project. So in this case, total capital is 500 million initially, subsequently 100. So 600 million has been invested. Now we need to find out when the customer, the project owner, is recovering that 600 million. In which year? So year 1, they have only recovered 100. Year 2, they have recovered 150. Say altogether now 250 million has been recovered at end of year 2. But end of year 3, they have recovered another 250. So altogether 500 million recovered. End of year 4, with another 50, they have recovered 550. But still we need 50 million to recover. So then we can't say the full investment has been recovered by end of year 4. So then we go to year 5. With the year 5, they have recovered 700 million technically, because 100, 150, 250, 50, 150. So by end of year 5, they have recovered 700 million, but we need only 600 million. So that 600 million is recovered during year 5. So that is the year we can say the project or the business is recovering its total capital. So answer is year 5. Now we are getting Jayani? 5. Okay. Didn't you come last week? Probably, I think you were absent, right? Okay. Right. Now, first part we have done. So we need to go to the second part. The second part is basically we need to define and calculate the NPV of the project. So we have given the discounting table also. Now we know the cash flows for each year, right? And we know the initial capital and subsequent capital going out, and we have been given discounting factor. So let's try to find out what's the NPV. NPV is basically we are trying to see the discounted value of each year's cash flows and see whether what's the difference between initial cash outflow and the subsequent inflows. So let's see whether we can find it. Whoever who present last week, that you can try it on, and others just go through it, and 5 minutes time. So we'll discuss it in the board. Right. So let's take a try. So within 5 minutes that we will discuss it in detail. Right. Calculate NPV and see whether what could be the like answer. Have you attempted up to this level? Any questions? Did you understand what we have done here? Obviously, whoever who present last time, so they knew what we, know what we are doing. What about Jayani and Samindri? And Matthias, you were also not there, right? NPV is -60 as per Jayani. Let's see what about what are the answers. Couldn't attend, right? So hope you are understanding, understood what we have done so far, right, Matthias? Okay, so what's like answer you are getting? We have cash outflow, we have cash inflow, we have net cash flow we have computed, and we have been given the discounting factor at 12%. So then we need to multiply net cash flow with the discounting factor, and then You have to add it and see what's the answer. What is the answer you are getting? As per Jain, it's something around -60. So which means that NPV is negative, the project is not viable. What about others? You can calculate and let me know. What are the answers? Why you are silent? Sanjeev, Jude, what's the answers? Abhishek, have you got the answer? 97.3, not sure, right? We will see why you have got that 97.3. It might be issue with the calculations then, because I think what we have done so far you have understood, right? Probably that we can check for the interest of time. So discounted CFI is 500 negative, here 89.3, 1190.55, 178 minus 31.8, 85.5. Answer is something minus 59.9. It is like almost equal to minus 60 or 0.5 because there may be some decimal issue. Jani, hope that you have come up with some answers equal to this. Sanjeev, were you able to find the error? What about others? Matthias? Jude, have you attempted this? Okay, Jani, thanks. What about others? Have you got this clear? So any difficulty in getting absorbed, please let me know because, yeah, correct, Jude, thank you. Sanjeev, we have to consider additional investment, Sanjeev. So that's why we have used this one, 100 in tier 4, because anyway it's going out. So that's why the negative cash flow coming here. Because whatever the investment happening in whatever year, we need to take it into account. But the difference between payback and here is, in the payback, we haven't taken the time value and we just thought about 500 and 100 as 600. So whenever it's happening, immaterially payback. But here we have taken exact time, year 4, year 0. So based on that, so we have discounted that. Right. What about others? I think everybody has done it. Okay. So then let's move to the next part. Abhishek, you got around minus 70. Have you found out the issue? Because you have conducted without this, right? Oh, what happened? What is the 10 point variation? Have you got these answers? Both here, yes, right. But you have got it right now, right? Okay. So let's move to the next part. So that is to define the internal rate of return and do the calculation, right? So basically, the internal rate of return is rate is basically the interest rate where NPV is becoming 0. That's what generally we define, right? So we know that, and then we try to compute the IRR. So for that, actually, we can use some two interest rates, where one positive and one negative IRR. Right? I think hope you can see here. Generally, what is IRR? If you say this is interest rate, this is NPV, this is IRR. Interest rate where NPV is becoming 0, we define as the IRR. That's the definition. So in order to find that, actually last week we have mentioned, we have defined equation. So I will show you it here. That is IRR is R1, I mean low interest rates. This is R1 plus NPV1, that is this one, into R2 minus R1, that is here R2, interest rates where NPV becoming negative, and this is NPV2, NPV1 minus NPV. So that's how it says. Right. This is the IRR equation. So IRR equation is basically R1 plus NPV1 into R2 minus R1 divided by NPV1 minus NPV2. So what is R1? R1 is the interest rate where you get the positive NPV. R2 is the interest rate where you get the negative NPV. Right? You know NPV1, you know NPV2, you know R1, you know R2, then you can compute that. So what we need to do is, we need to find two interest rates, that is R1 and R2, where you can get one positive NPV and one negative NPV. Now, example, here we have got one negative NPV already. So that is 12% we are getting some NPV. So then we need only to find another interest rate where you can get positive NPV. So it is 12. So let's assume something about say 6%, 50% of that. So then you might calculate what is the NPV for 6%. Right? So for, we'll say at discounting factor at 6%. So it's something, answers we are getting here again, 1.9489848378. Right? is something like this at this 500. It's not clear. $94, 133, 210 minus 41, 118. Roughly something 14.3. So basically, what we wanted to do here is we need to find another interest rate where NPV is positive, because if we know that, then we can use this equation. Since we have already done a discounting factor at 12%, where we have got minus 60 here, then we need to find another interest rate where we getting positive NPV. So we assume 6% because 12%, 6%. So by 6%, using the discounting factors, we've got some positive NPV, that is 14. So we have now R1 is 6, R2 is 12, NPV1 is 14, NPV2 is 60. So we have 4 unknown variables. Then we can get the IRR. See, you understand this? Any difficulty? Because concept is this one. IRR is the interest rate where NPV is becoming 0. So in order to find this, we can use this two triangle equation. This is the equation. R1 plus NPV into R2 minus R1 minus divided by NPV1 minus NPV2. So basically we need to find R1 and R2. R1 is making positive NPV, R2 is making negative NPV. In order to do that, we have already calculated at 12% a negative NPV. So now we are trying to find out a positive NPV, which is, we assume 6% would give the positive NPV to us. So at 6%, we have done it. So we got the positive NPV, 14.3. Then we can substitute these two and find IRR. So roughly, when you are substituting, so you might get around the 7 to 7.5% NPV IRR based on these equations. So see whether you understand this. Yeah. IRR is Jayani, IRR is 7%. You got positive. Yeah, at R is 2. No problem. You just take some interest rate to get some positive NPV. IRR should be around 7%. What about others? Any issues? Right. Yeah, Sanjeev, 7%. Yeah, it's correct. It's around 7%. There may be minor changes, deviations. That's no problem. What about others? Abhishek and Matthias? Shamindri? Jude? What about you? Andrew? Chenuka? Okay. What about others? Is it clear to others? Any problem? Please let me know that if you do have any questions, so that we can move to the next part. Okay, so then we move to the next part. Next question, basically. We have got a question. Other than 12%, we can consider. Yeah, you are correct, Sanjeev. So because here that we have computed 12%, I have taken the same as one of the interest rates. So if not, you can take maybe 8% and see, 10% and see, right? Whatever this thing you can use it, because since that we have computed, so we taken it as one of the interest rates where we get the negative NPV. Right. So basically, Matthias asking a question where explain the equation. Yeah, I will do so. It's like right. So in this equation, Matthias, now what we have done here is we have developed an equation where IRR is basically R1 plus NPV1 into R2 minus R1 divided by NPV minus NPV2. So this is the kind of equation we have developed to arrive or to get the IRR, right? So how we have developed this is basically, if you see this graph, where at R1 you get the positive NPV, R2 you get the negative NPV. When you draw this line in between these 2 points, you get a point where interest rate, at that interest rate NPV is 0. So we call that as IRR. Then we have two triangles, a small triangle and big triangle. Using geometry, we have developed this equation. So in this equation, we need to find two interest rates, that is R1 and R2, and two NPVs. So what is the two interest rates? One interest rate should give positive NPV, one interest rate should give negative NPV. And how we are going to go about that is, say, let's say in this equation, so at 12% you get a negative. So obviously now you have one interest rate where you get negative NPV. So that is, you have R2 and you have NPV2. That is basically negative NPV, right? Now what we need to do is, then we have to find another interest rate where we get the positive NPV. So how do you get the positive NPV? Because at 12 it is negative. Then you go maybe 4%, 5%, 6%, 7% and try it out. But you get the positive NPV. So at 6% you get the positive. At 2% you get the positive. At 5% you get the positive. Then you have two interest rates and two NPVs. One positive, one negative. When you apply this equation, NPV1 is positive, minus NPV2 is negative, minus positive. So NPV1 and NPV2, it will add together. And then R2 minus R1. R2 is 12, R1 is 6 in this equation. So that is 6. So NPV1 is here, I have got 14. Somebody would have, you got different thing. And then you multiply that, and when you arrive that, you probably get the interest rates or whatever the IRR equal to 7 or 7.1, 7.2 range. Is it okay, Matthias? Okay, so you can do 1 or 2 questions that in this the upload. So still, if you do have any questions, please let me know. Right, and then we move it again to another question that we can write out. So right, so quickly we attempt this question. 2016 March Q5. 2016 March Q5. See whether what's the payback period and why the break even is different from payback. So first do a quick one to understand and to arrive what is the payback. What is the total investment in this question? What is the total investment? We have done it like 2.56 years, 3 years, 2.4, right? 830. So basically, we are recovering the total investment end of year 3. So maybe exactly 2.44. So answer is 3 years. There is some differing answer. Jaini, you get 2.56 and Abhishek 2.44. Which one is correct? 740 million is received at end of year 3. Then we need to recover 344, 740, and only 90 million due in third year. So 90 divided by 205. What is the answer? 90 divided by 205 is something 0.44. Jaini, you made a kind of mistake, right? It's not 2.56, right? It's 2.44, right? Because last year you need only 90 million out of 205 million cash flow. So 90 divided by 205 is something around 0.44, not 56, right? Right. Okay. What about others? Any difficulty in computing payback? Please let me know that if you do have any questions, because since we have done a couple of questions that I am going through it a bit quickly. Then part 2 is what's like difference between break even and the payback. So basically break even is where you are trying to find a point where total cost equal to total profit, right? Total income. So basically we talk about a total income is equal to total cost accumulated during the production. That is break even. Payback is time taken to recover the capital investment in a project from the income generation. So basically there are two, like break even point is where you try to find a point where your total income is equal to total cost. In payback period, you try to find a time where your total investment is recovered through your income. So that's the difference where you try to the cost equal to income one. The other one is investment is basically achieving through the income. So one is time, one is a point. So that's how you have to define the break-even point and the payback period. So third one, we are supposed to compute NPV using the discounting factor at 18%. So give a try for that as well. So we have been asked to find NPV using discounting factor at 18. Right. See whether you can do that. If you do have any questions, please let me know. Like last time, you can say this is year. The second column is cash inflow. Third column is cash outflow. Fourth column is net cash flow. So then you have to find a discounting factor at 18%. Here 0, 1. So like that. Then you multiply and arrive the answer. So see whether you can compute that. And if you do have any question, please let me know. So especially those who did not participate last week. Tarushika, I think you are getting it right. So you have done it earlier one also correctly. And if any questions, please let me know. Hashen and Andrew, let me know that if you do have any question. Samindri or two, because you are not also there. But if you do have any questions, please let me know. 12292, right? Let's see how the others getting. Uh, 215.75. I think that's most closed answer. Abhishek, why don't you check it again? See whether you have got this answer. So here 0, 830 going out. Here 1, 340 coming in, 400 coming in, 205 coming in, 580 coming in. Together 90 million also coming in because the machine is going to be sold. So then total net cash flow is 830 going out, 340, 400, 205, 670. Then at discount effect at 18%, 1.8475, 0.7182, 0.6086, 5158. This has to be computed, right? And then there is the present value at 18%, 830 negative, 288, 287, 124, 345. Answer is around 215. See whether have you got this or any questions? Jani, okay, thanks. What about Andrew, Matthias, Ashen, Samindri? Yes, Sanjeev, correct. Abhishek, okay. Shenuka? Arushika, you are correct. What about others? Any issues? Please let me know. So this is, I think, that we have come to like almost conclusion. Right. Any other issues? Right, Chenuka, great. Matthias? And Hashim? Samindri, what about you? You okay? Can we move forward now? Right. So basically now you can try the fourth part also, where take two interest rates and compute one positive NPV and one negative NPV, and then arrive the IRR, right? Like what we have done last time. So take two interest rates. So here we have one, actually we have it 18%, we have one, and maybe double that, say 35, and calculate that, right? And probably you can get the answer, right? Then we move to some further question. Quickly go through next one, because that we are not going to do it together in the interest of time, but I will explain it how basically what it is all about, right? So this question you can write at home. A bank receives two SME project proposals, project A, B. Both projects are to establish two garment factories. So initial investment 5 million and 2 million. So we have been requested to say discuss about what is payback and weakness in the usage of project evaluation. So we can, straight away we can get the 5 marks. You know what is payback and what are the advantages, disadvantages. We have discussed in the classroom, so you can use that and get that 5 marks. So again, they asked to compute the two projects payback. That is also not a different one. 5 million going out. So which year that project A recovers the capital. So year 1 500, year 2 1 million, so 1.5, year 3 2.5, year 4 it's 5 million. So basically project A payback is 4 years. The project B 2 million, 5 million, 1.5. So basically project B payback is 2 years. So that's very simple. Then briefly explain the difference between the discount and payback and payback. In your opinion, which is more appropriate for project evaluation, and give your reasons for the answer. So what is that? Any thoughts? Because this is the first time he's asking, but what if you are, say, sitting an exam where you get this question, what would be your answer? What is this? So far we have done only payback. Now they ask about discounted payback. What is been all about? What is discounted payback? Any thoughts? Any views? Any idea? Discounted payback. It's not a difficult one. Don't think too much. Because in payback, what we are doing? In payback, we just take cash flows and see when we are recovering the capital. When you say discounted, what we are trying to do is, so you try to discount your cash flows. Once you discount your cash flows, again, using the discounted cash flows, you see what is your payback. Very simple. You're getting me? Say, now earlier, you have 1 million, so 2 million to recover. Go back to the question. 2 million. If you are not discounting, what is the payback? 500, 1.5, so 2 years. Now we are going to discount at whatever, let's say 10%. So then when you are discounting this 500 million at 10%, what could be the value? Is it 500? It is something 490 or something, it's 510 or more. What could be your answer? Take up 500 or add another, very when you are discounting. January, but yeah, it is coming down, but not the 290, right? Because when you say 10%, it's something 0.9 or yeah, 0.9 or something. So 590, 450, 460. So it is less. Yes, agree, Shashini. So basically, it is not 500 now. It may come down. Why? You are discounting it today value. Then what about 1 million coming in year 2? Will it be 1? Will it be 900 or will it be more? Again, it is less. So because you are discounting at year 2, discounting factor. Now what you are telling me? So in order to recover the 2 million, do you need 2 years or more? So will you be able to recover your 2 million in year 2 once you discounted your cash flows? What is your answer? It's more. It's obvious. So that's what we say, the discounted cash flows. Right? So it's very easy. Now, when you say payback, and generally we say time taken to recover the investment or capital invested, money invested. You are not thinking, you are not taking time value into equation. That is the most kind of a common assumption, which is one of the disadvantage of payback. Here, examiner is now asking us to see the impact when you discount in those cash flows. Take it up, you a discounted cash flow here. So when you discount it, obviously your payback goes further. Then first project again 5 years only matter ganna baha because you need more time. Hey, cash flows coming down now. So that is the answer. But what do you suggest? It is good to go discounted cash flow approach or normal cash flow approach. What is more realistic? What is more advantageous? What is more good in decision making? Discounted cash flow yanekada, normal cash flow yanekada. Arushika is telling normal. Jani also telling normal. Sanji is coming to discounted. Ati is also telling normal. So as an investor, as a banker, what is more appropriate? Actually, what is happening? When you say, I have 2 million, year 1 I am getting 500, year 2 I am getting 1 million, I am recovering 2 years, is this actual scenario? No. There are so many other things like interest rates, inflation, other risk to realize those cash flows. If I say that I am getting, say, 2 2 million in 2 years. So the payback is 2 kWh. Underlying reasons are telling you take more time to recover that because this discounting. So ideally, it is good that you do discounted cash flow approach. So that's why we say NPV is better as against all the other techniques, because we have taken, more risk, some other factors also into consideration when realizing our investment. When you do discounted cash flow approach, obviously you know that I'm not recovering my cash flows in 2 years. It's into something because you have discounted, let's say 3 projects, 4 projects. When you say discounting, when you are applying the discounting factor, so many other gray areas, issues get nullified. Remember, we were talking about, because time value important, other risk also important. So we are trying to take that into account, and then we take an informed decision. But for advantage, so easy, simple, yes, you take normal. Very easy to explain, very easy to convince. So that's different. But ideally, we advise to proceed with discounted cash flow approach because it's like accepted by most of the decision makers and the organizations. So answer could be, we also suggest to proceed with discounted cash flow approach. Right. So any questions? Right. So then we move to question number 2017 September to break even. So take 5 minutes and see whether you can compute the break even like these 4 questions. PV ratio, break even point, what's like profit when you produce 20,000, main assumptions. It's very easy question. So far we have got it. See whether you can do that. BEP 250, right? Others also can try. What is PV ratio? Sanjeev, that we need to tell BEP in volume and BEP in rupees also. to get the 5 marks. Yeah, Tarushika, you are telling PV is 0.2, correct. Jayani, 250 is correct. We need the rupee value also. Yes, 25,000 again correct. Others can try about the next part also. Yeah, I will do that. So first, actually, you can, Andrew, you can try it on. I will, let you know the board again, right? So first, it's like I have given you time, and then I will come back. first it's your time, and then I will move to the board. Any questions on part 1 and part 2? Tarushika and Jayani, Sanjeev, you have done it correctly. What about others? Andrew, have you attempted it? And Matthias, Ashen, Abhishek, Shenuka, Samindri. What are your answers? We discussed it in the class, but probably you might have missed it. And then what are your answers? What is price volume ratio? How we have defined that? Can you see the board? Is it clear? Okay, Jay. Right. So basically, what is the first one? PV ratio. How we define the PV ratio is basically contribution per unit divided by selling price per unit. Right. So contribution per unit divided by selling price per unit gives us the PV ratio. So what is the contribution per unit here? How we calculate the contribution per unit? That is selling price minus variable cost. Here selling price is 100, variable cost is 80. So 100 minus 80, you can get 20 here. So selling price is 100. So 20 divided by 100 is the answer, right? So 20 divided by 100. So it is 0.2 or 20%. So ideally 0.2 because per unit. 20 divided by 100 is 0.2. Right? Hope you have got that. So then the part 2, break-even point. Break-even point is fixed cost divided by contribution per unit. So what is the fixed cost? 4,000 plus 1,000, 5,000. Contribution per unit is 20. 5,000 divided by 20, we got 250 units. So that is break-even point. Then we have been asked to compute break-even units in rupees. That is 250 into 100. 100 is the selling price. So 250 into 100, 25,000 is the answer. So hope you are clear with part 1 and part 2. Any questions on part 1 and part 2? Any questions? Okay, right, sir. Then part 3, they are asking what is the expected profit, target profit. So we have an equation where Q is equal to fixed cost plus target profit divided by contribution per unit. So we have learned this during the classroom. So that is Q is equal to fixed cost plus TP divided by contribution per unit. So here, what's the fixed cost? 5,000. What's the target profit? We yet to compute. What's the contribution? 20. What is the unit that they requested us to compute the target profit is 20,000. So then 20,000, 20, 5,000 is there. Then target profit is need to be computed. So 20 into 20,000, 400,000 minus 5,000, 395,000. See whether you have got that answer. Any difficulty? Jan, you are correct. What about others? Sanjeev, Shamindri. Okay, Shenuka, great. Matthias, yes, very good. What about Samindri? Okay, Sanjeev, yes, and what about, I think everybody has done, right? Matthias? Yeah, you also got it, right? Great. Okay. So then, I think this, Tarushika, you are there, right, Shashini? Hope you have got it right. Right. So, I mean, when you see this, you can see it's a very difficult question, right? So very easy. If you are getting it right, so you need to attempt it and get full marks, right? So do another question so that so you'll be able to master it in case that if you have been given a question. The last part is basically assumption. I think in my note that you have, I have mentioned several assumptions or limitations, like we have taken only two cost items, like variable or fixed. So we are not assuming any semi-variable, semi-fixed cost. So whatever you produce, you are going to sell this. So we try to apply this for about a shorter term period, right? And then we also assume there is no stocking is happening, right? So there are, I think, 5 or 6 points that we have discussed in the class. So you can use it for the last part as assumption, limitation of this break-even analysis, right? For the interest of time, so I'll move to the next question quickly so that we can attempt one question before we are winding up, right? That is this question. Right, 2018 March Q3, right? Let's take 5-10 minutes, and where we can attempt at least 1 or 2 parts there, right? So right, maybe within 5-10 minutes, and then we will discuss that as well. 2018 March. What are the answers you are getting? Have you found the fixed cost first? In order to find the break even, we need to know fixed cost and contribution. So have you found the fixed cost? If so, what is that? What is it? Right. So Jayani, what's the fixed cost? $44,000. Do others agree? You also got the same fixed cost? Okay, right. Then we need to find contribution per unit. If we can find the contribution per unit, then we don't have any issue to find the break-even point. So see whether you could find the break-even point. Sorry, contribution per unit. There are so many information. So see whether that you can find that. Contribution per unit. What is the contribution per unit? What is the contribution per unit? කොහොමද අපි හොයාගන්න ක්‍රමයක් තියෙනවද? There are so many information given, but there are very smart method to find the contribution per unit. Is there any place that they have mentioned about contribution margin, contribution ratio? කොහේර කියලා තියෙනවද ඒක? So what is that? 27.5, ne? Right. If you know the 27.5 is the contribution margin, then what is the contribution per unit? Contribution margin එක දීලා තියෙනවා. Do we know the selling price per unit? Right. Do we know the selling price? Right. So if we know the selling price, can we find the contribution per unit? 40 rupees into 27.5%, which is the easiest method, right? Selling price is 40, contribution margin is 27.5. So you can forget all the other information, because what we need to know the break-even point is fixed cost divided by contribution per unit. Fixed cost we know now, that is 44,000, right? So it's there like 32,000 plus 12,000, 44,000. So one is that. Then 40 rupees into 27.5% is your contribution per unit. So that is 11. So 44,000 is the fixed cost, 11 is the contribution per unit. So 44 divided by 11 is your units, 4,000. Because so many information, go little by little and understand exactly what we require. We require is basically we need to know fixed cost, we need to know contribution per unit. Exactly. See, now you can compute the break-even point and the break-even point in revenue in rupees. Right. Journey, like what we have done here is, we know the fixed cost. We don't have an issue. But we need to compute, or we need to find contribution per unit. But somewhere in the question, they say contribution margin is 27.5. Either contribution margin per unit. If we know the selling price per unit, and if we apply the contribution margin into the selling price, what we can get is the contribution per unit. Am I correct, Danny? Right. So that's the easiest method, because they have given 62 is one variable cost, 10% is another variable cost, 72.5 is the total variable cost. But what we need to know is that what's the contribution margin. Automatically, it is also they mentioned that 27.5. Yes, Sanjeev, you are correct. 40 minus 29. Or other words, 29 lazy. Apply the 40 into 27.5. Straight away, you can get 11. 29 kilo 40 into 72.5. Because variable cost, we need not to compute here. Straight away, we can get that 11. Jani, you have got it? Okay, Jani. I am explaining it again. In order to compute the break-even point, we need to know fixed cost and contribution per unit. So we know the fixed cost, no issue. Then we need to find the contribution per unit. So contribution per unit can be computed selling price minus variable cost. Selling price we know 40. Variable cost also you can compute using, because 62.5% plus 10%, 72.5%, it is being given. So if the price is 40, 40 into 72.5 gives you the variable cost. That is a one method. So 40 into 72.5 gives you 29. Then you know 40 is the selling price, 29 is the variable cost. 40 minus 29, you get the 11, that is the contribution per unit. You can straight away take, because they have given the contribution ratio, margin is 27.5. How you get the margin? Into what? Because it is part of, it's a portion of the selling price. Portion contribution per unit. So 40 into 27.5 the contribution per unit, because 40 is the unit selling price. So 40 into 27.5 is the contribution, that is 11. Then you know fixed cost, then you know the contribution per unit. Right. What about others? Have you got it? Yeah. Tarushika, 400, 40,000 units into 240. Small correction, right? Break even, yes, 44 divided by 11, 4,000. And Tarushika, 40 into what? Sorry, sales, it could be 4,000 into, what is the selling price? 40, right? Yes, 4,000 into 40. Yeah, Shenuka, you are correct. Tarushika, it's not the 60,000, right? Okay. And then Matthias, the 29 is basically you can get in this way also, because what is the selling price? 40. What is the variable cost? 72.5, because 62.5 plus 10%. 40 into 72.5 is your variable cost. That is again 29. That's the easiest way to get that. 40 into 29.5. Sorry, 40 into 72.5. So that's the variable cost. Again, 40 minus 29 is equal to 11. That's the contribution. You can straight away say 40 into 27.5, because it's a contribution margin they have given. Straight away you get the contribution per unit. Okay, so very good. So we have done first part. Then the second part, Q is equal to fixed cost plus TP divided by contribution. There you know fixed cost is 44,000. TP, target profit, is 330,000 and contribution is 11. So when you compute this, you get the required quantity in order to produce, in order to arrive 330,000 profit. What is the answer? Is 34,000. You get the Q of 34,000 by computing this. Make answer okay. Q is 34,000. And revenue is that 34,000 into 40. If they have asked that also. Revenue again. Balande part clear the here. So we need to find some Q in order to arrive profit of 330. You apply those into this equation. Fixed cost will be done of 44. The TP is 33, 330. Contribution is 11. When you multiply and you get that answer is Q is 34,000. And the revenue, that is 40 rupees is the unit. 34,000 into 40, you get 1 point something answer. 1.6 or something. Assumptions that again you can refer them on for the part 3. Part 1 and part 2 clear the balance. Any questions on that? That's a difficult part. Any questions? All clear 1 and 3 part? Can I take that you have understood part 1 and part 3? Andrew, you're asking what the how did that TP? A TP cost I didn't get. How did the TP? So here TP is target profit, because they have given us in the question uh, 330,000 is not the total cost, right? It's not the total cost. In this equation, fixed cost plus target profit. So because they want 330,000 the profit. So TP is the total profit they require. Fixed cost is the 44,000. Contribution is 11. So when you do this, then you can arrive the number of units produced in order to arrive 330,000 profit. Right, because here TP is the sense total profit or target profit. Okay. So what about others? Okay, move to last part. Last part in the sense graph. Now time to time they might ask us to do this kind of a thing. So profit volume graph. In order to do this, you can use this equation because Q is equal to fixed cost plus profit divided by contribution. The main equation you already know one point. What is that? Break-even point. At the break-even, profit is 0. Volume, you know, 4,000. So you know that is here 4,000. 4,000, there is a point 1. You can find another 1 or 2 by looking at here. What if in this equation volume is 0? It's this point. So just put this 0. Q is 0. That is this point, right? Q is 0, then contribution 0. So fixed cost is equal to profit. So what's the profit now? Profit is minus fixed cost, 44,000. Your target profit is the profit, right? Yeah, it's a profit. This is the equation. So when Q is 0, fixed cost plus is, the fixed cost is 44,000 plus profit. So profit is basically minus 44,000. You get another point, right? So you can cross this. This is the profit volume graph. Also, you can find, let's say here 4,000. Just apply some 10,000 in this equation. What's the Q? When Q is 10,000, what could be the profit? Here, you know, 330,000 profit is arrived when Q is 34,000. So may have 34,000 you can have a profit there also. Sorry, 34,000 there will be profit. You have another equation, another point. So if they have given that sort of a thing, you can use some numbers and find some points. So easiest way is in this equation, let's take Q is 0, let's take P is 0. So obviously you have 2 points. Q is 0 is equal to minus 44, P is 0, you get 4,000. So intersect that. So you get that graph. So sometimes they might give us that sort of thing as well. No need to have graph papers or whatever. So just apply and do whether you can arrive that type of equation. Right? Any questions? Any questions? Okay, then what could we do is like, since we have done one sort of bit of questions with respect to break even and project appraisal, so you also can attempt it at home. And next week we probably be move to a different section, and we are supposed to conclude our classes by end of this month, and then thereafter they are starting revision. So we try to do different questions in next 3 weeks, so that we better get a kind of some more idea on the other areas also. So maybe we can do some MCQ questions on selected areas so that you can cover all the syllabus, and then we select some more 1 or 2 questions in SME and the rehabilitations area, and then we can wind up the kind of a session by end of this month. Right. So thank you for being with me, and let's meet next week as usual time. Okay. Have a good week ahead. Okay.